Hello, everybody. This is Mr. Storm, and today we're going to talk about classes. Ooh, fun. Um, what is a class? Well, it's actually kind of easy. Classes are a lot like methods, right? Methods are inside of a class, and just like we can create more than just one method inside of a class, we can create more classes, more than one class inside of a namespace or a full project, right? And so right here we have our class program, right? And this is our program class. And we have our main method inside the program, which is the thing that's going to actually be doing the stuff. And inside our main is where we need to call all of our other methods and access other classes and whatnot. And so inside of this, let's create a, I don't know, console dot write line, and we will just put, my name, David. Sure. Okay, that's easy to do. And I spelled write line wrong. Write line. There we go. And console dot read line. I'm going to show you a very simple example of how to create a new class and then access that class within this method. So I'm going to create a new class. I'm going to call this, public class. I'm going to call it name. Sure, that's what I'll do. It's a new class called name. And in this class, I want to actually create a name for myself. So I'm going to say, let's make this a public string, and we'll say test, just because we're testing this out. I'm going to call myself David. Let's give myself a new name. What would be my name if I was a woman? Dina? DeAndre. I spelled it wrong, but I'm going to go with that spelling because that's my truth, and you can't tell me what to do. You're not my supervisor. All right, so I'm going to change my name from David to DeAndre because I now have a class that has a new name inside of it for me. Well, in order to access this class inside of our main method, and remember, I wrote it outside of the program class. Okay, we want to be very careful of that. We want to make sure we're creating classes outside of the other classes. Now we use public here because we have more than one class. We want to make sure that we specify that, hey, this is a public class that is accessible from other classes. And then we use a public string because, again, we want to say, hey, this is public, which means I want other classes to be able to access this variable. Okay, so we need to have access to that class. What we need to do is instantiate a new instance of that class, right? So instantiation is something we're going to talk about a lot next term when we're working on game development and game design. But we need to actually instantiate. We need to create a new instance of this class within this main method. So what we need to do is type the keyword. Well, let's do my name. Oh no, you know what? We need to access the class. Let's do name, which is the class, the name of the class. My name, give it a name, right? Just like we're calling a new variable, we're calling the class by name, and then we're going to say, hey, this is going to be my new name. And then we're going to say it's going to be a new instance of name. Okay, that new keyword is really important. Basically what we're doing is we're creating a new instance of this class within the method, right? So new name, okay? Now I can use this myname variable to access variables within the class itself. So I can do something like this. I can say, instead of write line David, I can say my name dot test. Okay, so what we're doing here is we're accessing this new variable called myName, and that variable is of the type of name class. It's a class called name, and we have a new instance of that name class, right? So myName equals new name class. So we're creating an instance of this, and within that name class, we have something called test, a variable called test, which is this guy right here. So now, if I hit start, if I run this program, I should see the word DeAndre printed onto the screen. Come on, build, build faster, build with all your might. Hey, look at that. I win. I win. So my name is now DeAndre. So hello, I am DeAndre. Um, so that's how classes work in a nutshell. But let's say we wanted to do something a little bit more, I don't know, difficult, right? We want to make it hard. Let's actually create a oop, let's create a new class that has a bunch of stuff in it, right? Um, so let's see. Yeah, let's do this. Let's create a new class, and instead of calling it name, let's call it car, right? We're going to create a class called car, and we're going to have let's have instead of a public string, let's make a public int, and we'll say the number of tires equals 4, okay? Because cars have 4 tires. Let's say the public int year is 2000. And let's say public bool runs equals true. Okay, so we have a new class called car with 3 different variables inside of it, and we can access these variables by doing, let's see, perfect. So we have our new class. All right, cool. Let's see, what do I want to do with this? Let's go up here and instead of calling a name equals my new name, let's call car, my car equals new car. Okay, so now we're accessing the car class now, and I can write my car dot num tires, and I can also access year. And I can even do something a little crazy. I can say if my car dot runs, then or not read line, write line. Right? So we can use those variables exactly the way they're supposed to be used. I use a Boolean variable to determine whether or not my car runs and print it on the screen. I could change that value here. I can have as many classes of cars as I want. I can have my car, my wife's car, whatever, and then I can feed that information into my main class, my main method up here, into my program class. So let's start and see if that actually works, if we're able to pull some variables from that. And it does. Look, 4, I have 4 tires. My car is a 2000. Actually, it's a little bit newer than that, but you know what I mean. And my car does run. Great. That's exactly what we're looking for. So classes, think about them as just like bigger methods. They're just methods, just one level up on the hierarchy, right? And so we have we can create classes full of all kinds of information about one specific thing, and then call that class and call specific variables out of that class whenever we need to. All right, so that's just a very, very easy introduction, very stripped down introduction into what classes are. So I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to let you practice with this, create a bunch of new fun classes, and then access that information from one class to another. Again, I'm just going to leave it there. I'm going to move on, and I'm going to say thank you for paying attention this term and last term. Because after this, the next thing you're going to be working on is a more advanced text adventure program where you're going to add some of the new things you've learned this term, including classes, by the way. So after you get done with this week's work, you're going to be working on an even bigger program. So I'm excited for that. So there will not be a video next week. I'm just going to let you kind of go crazy, and the week after that as well, because this is a 2 week long project after this. So anyway, I'm rambling. And again, whenever I start rambling, that's when it's time for me to call it quits. So I will see you next time. Thank you for paying attention, and I'll see you next term. All right, bye.